Hello friends, looking at current affairs for 9th April, Sunday. The news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 12. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, Delhi Dhaka signed 22 deals. So as we have been discussing about India-Bangladesh relations for so long in the context of PM Sheikh Hasina's visit, Bangladesh PM's visit to India. So now deals have been signed. 22 deals have been signed. Amongst them, the significant aspects are the line of credit extended. So these are loans. Credit means loans given to Bangladesh by India. So 5 billion worth line of credit has been extended to Bangladesh, which will be used for projects in energy, connectivity sector, even defense line of credit for defense procurement with Bangladesh has also been brought in. So it's a 500 million LOC. So this LOC is different. This is line of credit. So it is also an MOU on defense framework has been signed. So this is a significant aspect of India-Bangladesh relations now, that defense cooperation would also be sought. Bilateral technology cooperation, even support for civil nuclear research between the two sides has also been boosted in this deal. Then next is regarding the Bangladesh, Bhutan, India and Nepal BBIN corridor, which we have been speaking about. So BBIN framework has been strengthened now. So this sub-regional cooperation amongst these countries on water resource management, power, hydropower, and on trade, transit and connectivity has also been emphasized on in the joint statements by the two countries. So that is there. Then you can see the line of credit would also be used to build up 17 projects, which include port upgradation work. So these are in Mongla, Chittagong and Paira ports in Bangladesh. So this is their civil nuclear energy cooperation, defense cooperation, technology cooperation, BBIN and LOC, line of credit. Then next is vulnerable tribals lost in classification trap. So this is regarding PVTGs, means particularly vulnerable tribal groups. So this has been a recent study by Anthropological Survey of India. So in its publication, it has found that of the 75 PVTGs which are there in India, only baseline survey of only 40 groups has been done. What is this baseline survey? To identify precisely the PVTG families, their habitat, their socioeconomic status. So this is the baseline survey which has not been done for various groups. So this you can see is the status of particularly vulnerable tribal groups, because once baseline survey is done, then developmental initiatives can also be planned based on those facts and figures. So that is being emphasized here in this report. Also it says among the 75 listed PVTGs, the highest number are found in Odisha. There are 13 PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups from Odisha. So it has the highest number of PVTGs. And it says that all the 4 tribal groups in Andamans are in the list, means 100% coverage. One from Nicobar Islands is in the list as recognized as PVTGs. So Andaman and Nicobar tribals we have discussed earlier too. We'll have a look at them here too, as it has been provided. You can see the 4 Andaman Island tribals are, these are Negrito group tribals. They are Great Andamanis, Onges, Jaravas and Sentinelese. So all 4 are PVTGs. So each one of them has been listed out here too, and you can see the population. Population is also quite low. So you can see they have suffered most from the contact with outsiders. 99% of Great Andamanis have been wiped out since the Britishers first colonized the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Then Onges, you can see they have been also been listed out here. They depend on food handouts. Then Jaravas have only had peaceful contact with outsiders for 6 years. So they have been in news quite often in last few years too. So Jaravas have had recent contact, say, and they are believed to have survived the tsunami also recently. So they also live on hunting, gathering, fishing. And Sentinelese are the most isolated of all the tribes in India. Basically, they have no peaceful contact with outsiders. They fire warning arrows at those who approach them. So the exact figure of the Sentinelese is also not there. So these are Negrito group tribals in Andaman Islands. And in the Nicobar Island, the tribals which are there are Shompen and Nicobaris. These are the prominent 2 tribals. Shompens are PVTGs. Nicobaris have a huge population. They have converted to Christianity and have assimilated with the other communities here. So they maintain their distinct culture, but they have largely become horticulturalists also. Shompens are hunter-gatherers. So the definition of PVTGs is also important, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. This was emphasized on that this should be the definition under STs, means scheduled tribes are there. Amongst the scheduled tribes means these tribes, there should be some tribes which should be given a special emphasis because it is seen that there is inequality in the rate of development amongst tribals also. So that is why this subcategory was created as recommended by Deval Commission. The fourth 5-year plan provided for this subcategory. It was called primitive tribal group. So the features which are emphasized on that who would be put under this category would be if they have pre-agricultural system of existence. They are basing themselves on subsistence agriculture, practice of hunting and gathering, zero or negative population growth, and extremely low level of literacy in comparison to other tribal groups. So if any one of these criteria is also satisfied, that tribe was considered as particularly vulnerable tribal group. So this was done based on the recommendation of the state governments. They were recognized so by the central government. So total 75 tribal groups are there, but the problems with them have also been discussed in this report. We'll go back to that too. The 70th PVTG which has been recognized is Maram in Manipur in 1993-94. So this is the latest entry. So no new tribal group was declared on the basis of 2001 and 2011 census, and the renaming was done. It was earlier called primitive tribal groups. It's called particularly vulnerable tribal groups since 2006 because primitive term was not found to be correct to note them. So it has been renamed now in 2006 as PVTGs. So here the report, it is emphasizing on the 75 listed PVTGs, highest in Odisha, all 4 tribals in Andaman and 1 in Nicobar Island are PVTGs, and it says that the 75 number which is there, the number of PVTGs is also not correct because there are some groups such as it says Birhor in Odisha. So there is another name for it to Mankidia. So both are recognized. They refer to the same group but both are recognized. So the listing is also has to be modified. It has to be correctly stated. And also this Birhor, they are recognized as PVTGs not just in Odisha but 3 other states. So that is also there. Some PVTGs are distributed in more than 1 state also. So that is also there. Then another point which it is highlighting is about Langia Saura. So this is a PVTG across Odisha, but then all of them are not treated as PVTGs. Only in 2 blocks there are micro projects installed, initiated for them, and they are benefiting. Rest of the Langia Saura are treated as scheduled tribes and not PVTGs. So this is also a discrepancy here which we see. Then it says the number of population, as such number of individuals in each of these PVTGs is also quite different. Like Great Andamanis, Onges, Sentinelese we just saw. They are very few in number. But Todas in Nilgiris, which are also PVTGs, there are more than 1,000 people in this PVTG grouping. So that stark differentiation amongst PVTGs presently is also there. So that is there. Some population is stagnant, like Birhor population is stagnant, is not growing, but then population of Onges and Andamanis are rather declining. So that declining trend is also seen. The smallest population size amongst all the 25 PVTGs is of Sentinelese. As we saw, they have very less contact. They fire these arrows when anybody approaches them. So they have the smallest population size. And the greatest population size amongst PVTGs is of Saharia. This is in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. The population is more than 4 lakhs now. So this is coming forth in the report. Then the next news item is an elephantine census after 5 years. So this is about the elephant census which will be conducted all over India. The elephant species which we have here is Asian elephant. So that is what it's mentioned. It's not about the region. It's the species of the elephant, not the African elephant. There are different species. So this is the Asian elephant population estimation which would be done. Last it was done in 2012, and now after a 5-year gap it will be done again in 2017. So these elephants population is generally there in the southern states and eastern, northeastern states. So that is where the population lies too. So you can see where they are located here in Karnataka, Kerala, then you have Odisha, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, and in the northeastern states here you can see. Then the next news item is labor participation rate of women in India visibly low, says World Bank study. So this is FLFP rate, female labor force participation rate. So this rate in India is quite low. ILO, International Labour Organization, has ranked India in 2013. So out of 131 countries which have been ranked by ILO on female labor force participation rate, India's rank is 121. Means at the lowest end of the spectrum. So that is the rank of India. So this is actually a little better than Pakistan. So amongst the South Asian countries, after Pakistan, the lowest is of India. Then also Arab world has lower FPs, but then they are also very close to us. You can see India's percentage of female labor force participation is 77%, while in Arab world it is around 23.3%. This is what it is in India. In Nepal, you can see the female labor force participation is 79.9%, which is quite high, and other nations are also shown. Then the report of World Bank, which has presently come out, it says that female labor force participation rate is low in India also because the rural population, where females were also working, are now not dependent on working. Children have started studying. So that is also a way in which FLFP rate has been shown low. But then we need positive progress as well, because as education levels increase over the years, the female who have educated themselves, now they have to find employment and be part of the economy as well. So the FLFP rate still remains low. Then the next news item is India-Mongolia cross swords. So this is actually not a war, but actually we are conducting a joint military exercise. So the two armies of the two countries, Mongolia and India, Mongolia is a country, you should know, it is having two neighbors basically. One is prominently, it is Russia and China. So it's located between Russia and China. So here the joint exercise conducted has been given the name Nomadic Elephant. So Nomadic Elephant is this joint exercise which is being undertaken presently in Vairengte in Mizoram. So in Mizoram we have this counter-insurgency and jungle warfare school. So it is this region where this joint exercise is being undertaken, and it is also important because with respect to India-China relations, Mongolia has also had issues with China because of Dalai Lama visit. So Dalai Lama had also visited Mongolia in December 2016. So that time we had discussed this in news. So on his visit to Mongolia, China raised its voice that how the Dalai Lama, which is considered as a Tibetan separatist leader in China, why is Mongolia entertaining Dalai Lama? So, but Mongolia said it's not a political visit, it's just a religious visit which he is undertaking, and Mongolia had such a response. So China, as a response to this action of Mongolia, it actually had a blockade on it, or the transit tariffs for the Mongolian trucks, means it is dependent on China. As I said, it is bounded by Russia and China. So it's dependent majorly on China for various essential commodities. So these transit tariffs were hiked drastically by China as a response to this act of Dalai Lama visiting Mongolia. So at that time, Mongolia had also asked for India's assistance in this crisis situation. So that is why now this joint exercise between the two countries also holds significance, because again, Dalai Lama is visiting Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh, which is a few kilometers away from Mizoram. So that is also the backdrop. This you can see. And another point which is highlighted with respect to Dalai Lama's visit presently in Tawang also, we have discussed this. Arunachal Pradesh, this Tawang region is demanded by China. It is considered by China as part of Tibet and hence China. And on Dalai Lama, China has presently said that next Dalai Lama should be born in China. So that is its demand. It is said by China that the succession which would take place, this should be from China only, the birth should be in China. But Dalai Lama says that this will be decided, that the future of his office, Dalai Lama's office, will be decided by the followers. And also if the successor should be a woman too, that would be decided by the followers. So that is what his response to China was. It says, let China first come clear on its theory of rebirth also. So Dalai Lama is the term. Dalai Lama is not the name of that person. It's the position of the religious head of this Tibetan Buddhist. That is called the Dalai Lama. So the next Dalai Lama, the successor, we don't know who it would be. So that is what China is insisting. He should be born in China. But the response was so. The next is the lowdown on sharing of Teesta waters. So even Teesta River, with respect to India-Bangladesh relations, we have discussed this. It originates in the Himalayas, flows through in Sikkim. It flows through Sikkim, West Bengal, and then merges with Brahmaputra in Assam, and that is what Brahmaputra is called Jamuna in Bangladesh. So that is where it merges and then drains out into Bay of Bengal. So this Teesta River water sharing is the issue. Bangladesh wants equitable distribution of Teesta waters with India on the lines of Ganga Water Treaty, which has been finalized in 1996 and is in effect. But this has not come forth because West Bengal has issues. So West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is not ready to endorse this deal between India and Bangladesh. And the Chief Minister's, the state's response is essential because water is a state subject. Under the 3 list, it comes under the state list. So it is a state subject. So it cannot, state cannot be sidestepped. Central government will have to take the concurrence of West Bengal government before going ahead with this deal with Bangladesh. So that is the point where it is stuck. It has been stuck since Manmohan Singh government. So presently too, she has not come forth, Mamata Banerjee, and she is not ready for such a deal on Teesta waters because, and the blame is put on global warming. So you can see what is being said on this also. So you can see she says that many of the glaciers on Teesta basin have retreated. So whatever is the flow presently will not remain so later too. So because in wet season it is fine, but in dry season there are problems, because even in wet season sometimes it is seen there are floods in Teesta, and during the dry season there are droughts. So that is what is being emphasized on, that West Bengal Chief Minister says is opposed to this deal. The 2011 deal, and Manmohan Singh government was also opposed because it says that during the lean season we would also not have sufficient water. So the deal basically was that India would get 42.5% of the share of water and Bangladesh 37.5% during the lean season. But this plan was not accepted by West Bengal Chief Minister. A solution to this which has been put forth is that there should be giant artificial reservoirs which should be built as such by West Bengal. This is being said by a Bangladeshi hydrologist. So the monsoon water can be stored during for the lean season in these artificial reservoirs. So these reservoirs, he says, should be built in India because it is a mountain induced site, so that is favorable for hosting dams and reservoirs. Bangladesh is in the plains, so dams, reservoirs may not function so in Bangladesh. So that is why it is emphasizing on this as a solution to the Teesta water sharing issue too. And the fear which West Bengal government has, that can be taken care of by these artificial reservoirs. So that presently no deal has come forth on this. Then next is IASC designs a novel graphene electrical conductor. So first we should know what is graphene. So graphene is one atom thick layer of carbon arranged in this honeycomb lattice format. So one atom thick means it is extremely thin. So this graphene was discovered in 2004 by UK's University of Manchester's physicists. So this is a remarkable discovery because at this stage, when it is one atom thick, graphene demonstrates remarkable conductive and resilient properties. So that is which will give it a number of applications. It has also won Nobel Prize in Physics in 2010. Graphene has already won that award, and these are various applications you can see of graphene. So conductive properties means it can have conduction with minimal resistance. So this is what the present discovery is all about. IISc researchers, Indian Institute of Science researchers, have designed this graphene electrical conductor which can conduct electricity along this zigzag edge. So when it's a honeycomb structure, these are the zigzag edges. So this has a unique property. It allows flow of charge without any resistance at room temperature. So this can be useful for power efficient electronics and quantum information transfer. So this is the application. So this has been tried, is being tried by various physicists, scientists all across the world. So this has been achieved by these IISc researchers presently. So they said we created bulk part of graphene which was extremely narrow and hence highly resistive. So that forced the current to flow through the edges only. And they have found this technique with minimal, zero resistance actually, current can pass through graphene. Then the next news item is IIT Bombay uses mango leaves to make fluorescent graphene quantum dots. So graphene is a form of carbon. So all commodities, whatever has carbon, so mango leaves do have carbon too. So they have used this mango leaves to synthesize these fluorescent graphene quantum dots. So what are quantum dots? These are nanocrystals of semiconductor material. So graphene is also that. So these quantum dots are actually used. They have various applications you can see here. So they have been synthesized now using mango leaves. So the benefit of this will be that it will be cheaper too, plus it will, because currently dyes are used for manufacturing these quantum dots, but when they are manufactured from mango leaves, they are biocompatible and have excellent photostability and they show no cellular toxicity. So that is the advantage of these quantum dots developed by IIT Bombay researchers. So this is a quantum dot basically. So these are semiconductor nanocrystals. So they are made of the same material as original semiconductors, but they are at this nanoscale, you can see. So unlike ordinary bulk semiconductors, these are so small at nanoscale. So they are able to have nearly zero dimension too, and the benefits of this would be that it can have a huge amount of memory stored in them. So you can see quantum dot memory is capable of storing 1 terabyte of data per square inch. So that is the benefit. The area increases. So this is the possibility, and it can store this information, write this information into the memory also in just 6 nanoseconds. So this is has huge future in computing, quantum dots. Then next is large asteroid to buzz past Earth on April 19th, NASA. So on 19th April, this will be a near Earth-sized asteroid which has been named 2014 JO25. Means it has been found in 2014. So this will fly past Earth, but it will not be coming very close. It will be at a distance 4 times the distance between the Earth and the Moon. So that is also called very close when you see in space terms of space distance. So this asteroid is around 650 meters in size. So its surface is twice as reflective as that of the Moon. So of course it will not be visible by naked eye, but using the telescopes you can see them. Plus also the comet, same on April 19, this comet Pan-STAR, which has been observed in 2015. This will also make its closest approach to Earth too, but it's also at a very safe distance, millions of kilometers away. Now looking at the definitions of these terms: meteorite, meteoroid, meteor, asteroids, and even comets. So meteorite means a meteoroid that has hit the Earth's surface. So after it has hit, it becomes meteorite. It's on the surface of the Earth. Meteoroid is a chunk of rock or dust in space. Meteor is the streak of light in the sky which is produced by the burning of the meteorite in Earth's atmosphere. So when it's coming into the Earth's atmosphere, because of that friction, the heat which is generated, the meteor burns. So this is meteor means what? It's dust, rock in space. So this burns with that streak of lighting is called meteor. So meteor showers you must have heard of. And what is asteroid? Asteroids are objects revolving around the sun that are too small and too numerous to be considered as planets. So we have seen the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. You should be knowing about that. So these are objects revolving around the sun. Some of them have been classified as some of them means one of them has been classified as a dwarf planet also, along with Pluto series. So that these are asteroids in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. And the comets. So comets are formed beyond the frost line. So these are icy counterparts of asteroids. They are much farther away from the sun, beyond Pluto also. So these are called dirty snowballs. So the nucleus as such, they are icy. So dust and ice mixed together. So most comets do not have tails. Comets are in frozen state. But when they come closer to the sun, then they grow this tail. So how these tails are also formed, you can see the two distinct tails are there in the comets. One is the dust tail and the other is the ion tail. Ions. So ion tail is there. So this dust tail is created by radiation pressure on freed dust grains. So the dust grains from the comet which are freed, the radiation pressure on them creates this dust tail on these free particles, and the ion tail is the interaction of ions in the comets with the solar wind and sun's magnetic field. So that interaction also causes this tail. So they form this tail, and the tail is always directed away from the sun because the pressure is coming from the sun. So you can see as they come closer to the comet, as the comet comes closer to the sun, the tails grow longer, and they are always directed away from the sun. And the dust tail is curved towards the orbital path also, and the ions, they are in this straight line. Then the next news item is what is subduction. So this is a coverage being done on Sundays. So this is part of geography. So subduction is a geographical process, means when convergent boundaries. So you should know about plate tectonics, that the Earth's surface is made up of a number of plates. So that is also shown here. You can see there are various plates, they have been named to. These are the plate margins. So the plates actually are moving. They are on the lithosphere, the crust as such, and the upper mantle. So that is called the lithosphere. So the lithosphere is actually floating on a liquid form. Liquid is in the plastic form actually, asthenosphere. So this is the layer on which this crust, upper part, crust and upper mantle, the solid part is floating. And the solid part is made up of number of plates. So these plates, they may be moving in towards each other to or away from each other to, means they may be converging to or diverging to. So when they are converging, what happens is subduction. So this is being shown here. So this is one plate and this is the other plate. So when the two converge, one of them will go down. That is called subduction. So these are the subduction zones. So that is mentioned here. You can see that takes place at convergent boundaries of tectonic plates. So these plates on the surface of the earth, they are called, the term is tectonic plates. So where one plate moves under other and is forced to sink due to gravity into the mantle. So this, such zones, areas where this takes place, is called subduction zone. So they occur all around the edges of the Pacific Ocean. You can see US, Canada, Alaska. So this is the Pacific Ocean. So this is the Pacific plate. So these edges you can see. What are shown here is the subduction zone with this hilly mountainous imaging. So these are the subduction zones. So this is also called the Pacific Ring of Fire. So this is North America, located here, Australia, Japan, Canada. So that is also linked to this. You can see your subduction zones are here, and these zones are responsible for the world's biggest earthquake. So earthquake is what? The tremor is this movement of the tectonic plates, because of which these tremors take place. So this is responsible for these subduction zones, wherever they are all across, are responsible for world's biggest earthquakes, the most powerful tsunamis, and also the most explosive volcanic eruptions. So the Pacific Ring of Fire is on the link between these subduction zones and volcanoes is also clear here. That this is the subduction zone and this is where the maximum volcanoes take place. So this is responsible for, subduction is responsible for forming the volcanic arcs that are home to some of the Earth's most dramatic geological events. So that is shown here. So this is what I was talking of. Asthenosphere is this plastic state on which the solid lithosphere, which comprises of crust and upper mantle, moves. So these are the plates. So this is the continental crust. You can see this will be thicker and the oceanic crust will be thinner. So when this plate boundary, as it is in the Pacific region too, when the oceanic crust will be thinner, so of course it will go down. So subduction will happen with oceanic crust going down because it is thinner. Then the next news item is Sri Lanka, India to develop Trincomalee oil tank farm. So this is Trincomalee, the port town in Sri Lanka, which Sri Lanka has also tried to offer to India to develop it, but India has been reluctant because Sri Lanka has already offered Hambantota port. Here the China is making developments here. So Hambantota, around this, China has also acquired land here to have a special economic zone type of industrial zone being developed here, in which China would be putting its investments, but people here are protesting against this land acquisition too. So this is Hambantota. So as a balancing act, Sri Lanka is saying that Trincomalee can be offered to India, but India says we don't want to invest here in a port here, develop it and then wait for it to be profitable for so long. So we don't want to make such an investment. So India has been reluctant. So now in Trincomalee, what Sri Lanka is offering, that joint development of these oil storage facilities can take place. So this is being spoken of here in Trincomalee. So there are around, you can see, these are 99 storage tanks which are present here. These have been built by Britishers. So these are World War era tanks. So these oil tanks, 15 of them are presently run by Indian Oil Corporation subsidiary in Sri Lanka. So the remaining are now to be allotted. So here it says that 10 more would be reserved by Sri Lanka. It would be retained by Sri Lanka for use by Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. And the other tanks, they can be used by India. So here India and Sri Lanka will jointly operate these oil storage facilities is being put forth. Then the next news item is protein that boosts vaccine efficacy found. So this is regarding a protein which has been found on the exterior of this bacteria. So this, when it is used along with vaccination, then the response is much better, because vaccination response will depend on the amount of antibody production that is there, or the stimulation of cells, these T cells, cytotoxic T cells, which are stimulated. So they will directly kill the offending agent. So this vaccine's efficacy increases because this protein which has been found on this bacteria, when it is used along with this vaccination, then both antibody production also increases and stimulation of T cells also increases. So the efficacy increases. So this is the uniqueness of this protein PORB. So this has been found by researchers presently. So this can help in treating various diseases like cancer, etc. So a cancer, HIV, influenza, their treatment can also be, fighting against them can also be improvised with this protein. So these are the news items. Thank you.